Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. I'm recording from the content team's room because Anand is currently using the studio to connect some meetings because we have our event happening today at Saturday at Lady Andal in Chennai, which I'm looking forward to, and I get to meet some of you there and shake some hands and have some meaningful conversation, like I said on Instagram. That said, today I want to talk about Netflix and what's happening in Netflix. It is a historical moment. Of course, there's many more things to unfold in it before it can actually come to reality. But even that said, it is a very interesting moment to definitely to be in, because this company once started, as an upstart in Hollywood against the establishment, the old guard, as they say, right? Its service started way back in 1990s as a DVD by mail service. So way back infancy's days of Netflix, you would fill out a form and then they would send you a DVD, you would watch it, and you probably send it back to the rental. They're the guys who are supposedly and fundamentally the company which was there destroying something like Blockbuster. I think that should be an understatement. Blockbuster's business model itself was evaporating and they didn't pivot. I won't blame Netflix entirely for it, but they're known for this, being a paradigm shifter and, change the way we look at entertainment. Netflix definitely has that. And this deal symbolizes how the tech industry is in full takeover mode of Hollywood. It's been happening slowly, but it has been happening steadily is what I would say. So how did Netflix win this? How did they get about doing this is a big question. So Paramount has been going through a lot. Comcast has been going through a lot. And Time Warner has been going through a lot, because there has been a fundamental shift in way we consume entertainment, way we consume media. And it was always looked upon, Netflix, their idea of, streaming, online, all that was looked upon as something by them. But that is the fundamental mistake companies tend to make. We have seen this happen with Nokia. We have seen this happen with Kodak. Something what Netflix started with could have been easily been done by any one of these behemoths from Hollywood. Any one of these studio houses could have started this. They didn't. Same thing is true with the record industry and Spotify, and Apple Music. They could have done it easily. They had the catalogs. They could have done it. They could have implemented it. But when you become such a huge company and you become such a huge beast, you don't notice these small points of inflection in society. You don't see the paradigm shift happening because your vantage point is you're on top of a mountain. And sitting on top of a mountain, you fail to see this. And that's where, this slow change has been happening. Like I said, steadily it's been happening. Slow but steady. And this deal brings this to light. But my fundamental thing, which I would say in this Netflix is, yes, they will get Warner Bros. Studios, Harry Potter, Batman, HBO's Game of Thrones, Soprano. They'll get the White Lotus, HBO Max streaming service. And all of that will get combined and become a Goliath of streaming. No doubt about it. But the question remains, as investors, what do we do? Is this an opportunity? Because the share in Netflix went down by 4% as soon as the investment was announced. Why? Because investors fear it is a bit of an overreach. Integration risk. They're going to take on a lot of debt to pay this. I think around $40 billion of debt is what I think they were talking about, if I remember right. And there's a seismic shift in happening, and will this create Netflix to become the gatekeeper of Hollywood, the new gatekeeper? Well, there's going to be a lot of pushback because it's an $83 billion takeover, and this marks a new disruptor being established. Are, people like Christopher Nolan going to be happy with this? Because the tendency is it's going to go further and further away from theatrical releases is what they feel. But there are some blind spots which a lot of you should keep an eye on. One, this is a regulatory minefield. Just because they announced it, it doesn't mean it's done and dusted. This is an unprecedented concentration of power. So the FTC and the DOJ will have to step in. The Trump administration's stance right now is they don't really like this idea. Okay, they're very skeptical about it. So they've been publicly backing this Ellison deal. So we don't know if this will actually go through. There is also a cultural clash happening because Netflix is an algorithm-driven, global, high-volume approach. And would that conflict with Warner Bros. Allude to talent and prestige storytelling tradition? So there's a cultural clash happening. between what is there in Netflix and what is there in Warner Brothers. And like I said, creative talent like Christopher Nolan, HBO showrunners, they will be resisting this. Okay, so they don't like this commodification of content, as they say. So expect a lot of internal turmoil, exits, public creativity, backlash, Hollywood artists, going against this because they already feel Netflix is anti-cinema. So this could erase around 20 to 25% of US box office revenue, is what they feel. Netflix, of course, is saying they'll honor theatrical commitments. But it sounds more like a temporary PR, which they're telling investors. But eventually they'll say cost cut, show cost cutting and roll all this back, is what everyone who's a little cynical like me feel. So integration risk is there. Investor sentiment is already showing because of strain in cash flow, because it destroys shareholder value, and that is the reason why they seem to have gone down. So if you look at this, what should you look at it as the big picture? What should we, as in people of Be Rich, should be looking at? Well, if you already own Netflix, you're holding on to Netflix portfolio, you have legacy shares of Netflix, I would say hold. Don't add more. Of course, this roller coaster of seeing it drop 4% and probably some more losses here and there, you're going to see some. It is going to be a roller coaster if this deal goes through. And this whole process of, fighting, class action lawsuit, monopoly and all this, it's going to get antitrust. All this is going to take time, and the stock price is going to go through a roller coaster. So, I would say don't add more to it. Sit. If you already you're sitting in a profitable position, sit on it. Don't add more Netflix to your portfolio. If you've looked at Netflix correction of 4% and you think, oh my God, this is a great opportunity to pick it up, I would say wait on the sidelines. Don't rush into Netflix right now and let the dust settle down. Because, yes, it is a paradigm shift happening. But, these kind of cultural movements creates a lot of volatility, and it creates a lot of heartache. So culturally, it might be a great thing like AI is. But where is this dust finally going to go and settle? We have to wait and watch. We want to see some balance sheets, and we want to see how this whole deal is structured before we decide to jump into Netflix with both feet in. So this would be my take. I would love to know what you think. Do you have Netflix in your portfolio already? Do you have some legacy holding of Netflix? Are you in a profitable position? Let me know. Are you thinking, or did you already bite the bullet on the of Netflix drop by 4% and think, oh my God, this is a great time to buy one of the fangs and jump into Netflix? Curious to know. Let me know. And what does this mean for India? Because India is quite a ripe market for Netflix, and Jio Hotstar is tied up for distribution of HBO content here in India. So that deal was signed way back in 2023. And what happens to that? That is something curious too. I know that market share is very small. HBO consumers in India and Warner Brothers movie consumption in India is much smaller compared to the regional media consumption on Hotstar. I'm sure Hotstar is not really worried about it. They are more focused on T20, World Cup cricket and Test cricket and the regional content. This is more like an add-on sprinkling they have, for viewers in India. But it will have an implication to Indian Netflix viewers too, is what I feel. Anyway, share your comments and your thoughts below. And like I said, for those of you I do get to meet today, I'm happy to have met you. And I will see you again tomorrow as we round up the week on a Sunday evening and get ready for the second week of December as we steamroll towards the end of the year. Thanks for being with me on Be Rich. I'll try and get Anand in as soon as I can. And we'll talk about some more macroeconomic news at that point of time. Bye-bye.